Okay, so today we're going to do one of my favorite people in the Bible, Ruth. And you'll see why. Naomi and Ruth return from Moab. So, these two characters, I don't want to ruin it for you, but there's Naomi, her daughter-in-law Ruth. Gonna go back to Moab from Israel. Or excuse me, back to Israel from Moab. Apologize. And let's see how it goes. Now it came to pass in the days when the judges ruled that there was a famine in the land, and a certain man of Bethlehem, Judah, went to dwell in the country of Moab, he and his wife and his 2 sons. The name of the man was Elimelech, the name of his wife was Naomi, and the names of his 2 sons were Mahlon and Chilion, Ephrathites of Bethlehem, Judah. And they went to the country of Moab and remained there. Then Elimelech, Naomi's husband, died, and she was left and her 2 sons. So here's Naomi, widow, raising 2 sons. Okay. Now they took wives of the women of Moabite. The name of the one was Orpah. The name of the other was Ruth. And they dwelt there about 10 years. So, they were married, 10 years, life's going good, okay? Then both Mahlon and Chilion also died. So now Naomi lost her 2 sons too. So the woman survived her 2 sons and her husband. Then she arose with her daughters-in-law, that she might return from the country of Moab. For she had heard in the country of Moab that the Lord had visited his people by giving them bread. Therefore she went out from the place where she was, and her 2 daughters-in-law with her, and they went on the way to return to the land of Judah. And Naomi said to her daughters-in-law, Go, return each to her mother's house. The Lord dealt kindly with you, as you have dealt with the dead and with me. So she enjoyed her daughters-in-law. They were kind to her sons, okay? The Lord grant that you may find rest, each in the house of her husband. So she kissed them, and they lifted up their voices and wept. And they said to her, Surely we will return with you to your people. But Naomi said, Turn back, my daughters. Why will you go with me? Are there still sons in my womb, that they may be your husbands? Turn back, my daughters, go, for I am too old to have a husband. If I should say I have hope, or if I should have a husband in night, and should also bear sons, would you wait for them till they were grown? Would you restrain yourselves from having husbands? No, my daughters, for it grieves me very much for your sakes that the hand of the Lord has gone out against me. So she was concerned for her daughters-in-law. She felt like the Lord's hand went out against her, and that caused the daughters-in-law to suffer as well. Then they lifted up their voices and wept again. Orpah kissed her mother-in-law, but Ruth clung to her. And she said, Look, your sister-in-law has gone back to her people and her gods. Return after your sister-in-law. But Ruth said, Entreat me not to leave you, or to turn back from following after you. For wherever you go, I will go, and wherever you lodge, I will lodge. Your people shall be my people, and your God my God. Where you die, I will die, and there I will be buried. So she is loyal to her mother-in-law. The Lord do so to me, and more also, if anything but death parts you and me. So she says, we're going to be together, and that's just it. Okay. When she saw that she was determined to go with her, she stopped speaking to her. Now, before I got married, I was more like Orpah. I thought I would go back to my family if something ever happened to my husband. But after being married and I get along with my mother-in-law, that we would need each other, because I'd be lost without my husband and she'd be lost without her son. So I understand Ruth and Naomi's dynamic. Let's see. Now the 2 of them went until they came to Bethlehem, and it happened when they had come to Bethlehem that all the city was excited because of them. And the women said, Is this Naomi? So they're excited. They're like, Yay, they're back, But she said to them, "Do not call me Naomi. Call me Mara, for the Almighty has dealt very bitterly with me. I went out full, and the Lord has brought me home again empty. Why do you call me Naomi, since the Lord has testified against me, and the Almighty has afflicted me?" So she feels like God has done me dirty, basically. Okay. So Naomi returned, and Ruth the Moabitess, her daughter-in-law, with her, who returned from the country of Moab. Now they came to Bethlehem at the beginning of barley harvest. And that's where that part of the story stops. So here they are. Now they came to Bethlehem at the beginning of barley harvest. So here's the harvest. So at least they're going to be having food. So, I know if you lost your family, you probably don't want to eat. But, you'll see as the story goes on, it's going to get better. Because next, Ruth meets Boaz. And Boaz, the name Boaz means pillar of strength. So he's a strong man in his spirit and everything else. So, and I looked up, I was kind of curious how old Ruth and Boaz were. Ruth was 40. Boaz was 80. So she was not really young. And he was kind of old. But they made a good match. They made a really, really good match. The personalities really meshed. They both were honorable people. And that in a marriage is the most important thing, is they're honorable people. Because you marry somebody for their looks, it's not going to last. You marry somebody for their money, it's not going to last. You marry somebody for any other reason, it's not going to last. You marry them because they're an honorable person, that's going to last. But you both got to be honorable. You can't one be honorable and one be a mess. Because the other one that's a mess is going to ruin it for the honorable one. So you got to both treat each other good with respect. So anyway, that's why me and my hubby been married for 13 years. 13 years. 13 years. Yep. Nothing to sneeze at.